Y'all, this is a walking tragedy. Look at my hair. This is after I took it down from my braids that I had in for 5 weeks. I had them in for 5 weeks and took them down. I won't tell y'all how long I was walking around looking like this, but just know I was looking like this for a little minute or two. But I just want y'all to sit back and chill and watch this video and just, I don't know. It's something about hair videos, even before I started doing them, that is so calming and soothing. I just love to sit back and watch other people do their hair. And so now y'all get to sit back and watch me do mine. And it's almost like whether you went to the beauty shop growing up or you go now, or maybe you grew up having your mom or your grandmother or your aunt or some other significant figure in your life doing your hair, that's a moment where you're able to just sit and really relax and take out time to just focus on making yourself look good and feel good. And even if you style your hair yourself, it's the same thing, because you're pouring back into yourself if you really think about it. Like in the other instances, you have someone else doing it for you. But in this instance, you are putting your hands in your head and you are making it happen, no matter if you're not as perfect at it like I am. I'm not the world's best self hairstylist, but I do enough to make myself look like a little something, I can do it. And I think you can too. I think we all have come to the point where we have become self-sufficient, and that if we don't have the time to go and let somebody else do it, then we gonna do it ourselves. Or you might be like me, you prefer to do it. Like, I actually love doing this as a hobby. I really, if someone were to ask me if I consider hairstyling or doing my own hair as a hobby, I would say yes. I was telling my coworker that on last week. I genuinely enjoy doing my hair, and I love the different ways that our hair can move and the ways that we can mold it and be so creative with this natural hair. It has so many levels to it that I don't even know if we've really unlocked all of the levels that there are to natural hair. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but the Cantu conditioner, the wide tooth comb, and the water bottle that you saw a minute ago is everything that I'm using to detangle my hair. I want to say I said that already, but I don't know if I did. So if I did, just ignore it. But that's what I'm using to detangle. And as I was saying, our natural hair, it is multifaceted. It has so many different levels to it that I would be lying if I said I didn't like what I do with my hair. And it gives me time to really focus on myself. It allows me time to meditate and think on just whatever it is that God lays on my heart to think, or whatever it is that I think up myself. It's really a moment of reflection, and I look at my coils and I look at the coarseness of my hair, and I love it so much. I think I talked about it in a previous video where I was saying how our hair texture is the most underprivileged hair texture out there, because you have so many women and girls who are wanting to go back to relaxers, not because relaxers are bad or anything like that, because like I've told y'all before, I have no problem with relaxers. But for many women, there is still a level, women and girls, there is still a level of embarrassment when it comes to this texture. If our hair isn't looser or more wavy, more of an approachable or appeasing texture that we feel like most others in society will look at with glee or praise, then we don't want it. And it's funny because I was looking at an actress the other day who was saying how, and she's not black, she's white, but she was saying how her hair is very curly and how it took her a long time to really become comfortable with wearing her curls in its natural texture, because she always wanted to wear her hair straight. Again, nothing wrong with wearing your hair straight. I'm getting a silk press for my birthday coming up pretty soon. So it's nothing wrong with that. It's just your intent, the reason behind why you do what you do. And that is why I take my time in these videos to really document the beauty of our hair. And yes, it's easy to get frustrated with it. It's easy to say, oh my gosh, I wish my hair would just finally cooperate and do what I'm telling it to do. Because when it's coarse, the minute any amount of moisture hits it, whether you've done all you can to prep it as best as you possibly can prep it, it's just going to do what it wants to do. So it's not like our hair texture is just the super obedient hair texture that follows the letter to the law. But at the same time, I don't think anybody's hair texture is really like that. If you think about it, most people have to do some form of manipulation to get their hair to the point where we see it when we're out in public with them. Everybody has to do that. And while, yes, it might be a little bit easier for others because their hair isn't as tightly coiled, it's still the manipulation. It's still there. And the bottom line is God gave us this beautiful texture for a reason. And so what if people don't like it, or if they frown on it, or if they look down on it? I don't care. I have had comments be made, like when I was natural, when I first went natural, like maybe I first went natural in 2018. So going over into 2019, I was wearing my hair in afros, not intentionally, but my hair would eventually go into afro status because I did a braid out, I would prep it the night before, and then the moment some moisture hit it, boom, afro. Nothing I could do because I was newly natural, and so I didn't understand the wisdom in carrying hair products and emergency care kits in your purse or your car, so that way if you have a hair emergency, you can kind of go out and fix it up real quick and modify it. I didn't know, so I would be stuck. Like I would be stuck at church, I would be stuck at work, I would be stuck. I would walk in one way and then go to the restroom, and my hair would be whoa. It'd be another way because I live in a very hot state. Hot as in the Lone Star State of Texas. It's very hot. And with heat comes many different variables that can make or break a hairstyle. So that's kind of what goes on a lot with my hair texture, which is why it makes it difficult to really achieve those really cute hairstyles that you want to wear. Now in the wintertime, you can kind of get away with it a little bit, but even still, if you come from outside and it's cool, and then you go into a building where the air might be a bit different, it might be on the warmer end, your hair, my hair anyway, would rebel. It would not want to do what I wanted it to do. So I was stuck. And so I would have people who would look or make comments and feel a certain way about it. And they felt that, well, that's not attractive, or that's not beautiful, or that's not something that you should be proud of, essentially. And I would get compliments for sure, but then I also had those that were just like, oh, you really like your hair like that? And I did. Now, granted, I didn't want to wear an afro, but when it would go into the afro, I was always just blown away at how beautiful everything looked. Now, I'm not trying to make it be like I was just walking out smiling like, oh, I have an afro now, because my hairstyle was obviously messed up. That's not the way I wanted to wear it. If I wanted to do an afro, then I would do one. But I'm just trying to let you know that I understood that my hair, when I went natural, was not going to be like what I saw everyone else's being or being styled as. Like I had a very clear understanding of it. And while, yes, I had a lot of learning to do when it came to understanding how to style it and the right products. Like starting out, I was a huge product junkie. I was putting everything on my head. And then I got to the point where my mom was like, back in the day, we didn't even use half this stuff. We were just using like 3 or 4 products and our hair was fine. And I'm like, yeah, let me start doing that. And so I went back to what works and what worked even when I was a kid and my mama was doing my hair. I just went back to that. And that's what's carried me through these 6 going on 7 years. And I hear so many women who have been in the natural hair game, if not for my amount of time longer, that are just, they're going back to perms. They're going back to chemicals because they are just over it, and they're over the wash days. I heard one woman say, I'm over the wash days. I'm over the wash and goes. I'm over the braid outs. I'm over it all. And hey, I could hear her and I could feel her pain. Everybody is not going back because of what I mentioned before. Everyone has a different reason why. But ultimately, I just want to make sure that we keep the main thing, which is that our natural hair is beautiful. And whether you decide to go back to a relaxer or not, is as long as you have that knowledge and you know, then I think that's the best way to go. I was watching another video the other day of a girl who went back to perms. She was natural. She went back to perms. And now she's going back to relaxers. And that's the beauty of the versatility of our hair. You can be natural, go back to being relaxed, then come back being natural again. It's a ring around the rosy at this point. Like, we can just go round and round on this merry-go-round, and it just keeps going and going and going. And I am just happy that people are finding out what works for them. Natural hair isn't for everyone because it is a job. But at the same time, it's a job that is rewarding and fulfilling. And after a minute, if you find out that it's not something that you can do anymore, then go back to doing what you do. I don't live your life. I don't have your schedule. So I understand that lifestyle matters and what's easier matters. Like, even for me, I'm hanging on with this now because I'm able to carve out time for it. But I don't know what it would be if I found where I was getting to a point where I couldn't really take care of it the way that it needs to be taken care of, because our natural hair, it needs that time. It needs that investment. And when you neglect it, that's when you begin to see a lot of different changes happening. And if you don't want to have those unfortunate changes, then you have to think quick, think fast, and come up with another option so that your hair can maintain its health. And it's a lot. It really is. It's a lot. However, I just feel like whatever you decide to do, as long as you have that core consciousness that there is nothing wrong with this texture of hair, we're making some ground. We're making some ground because that's what needs to be heard. That's what needs to be seen. That's what needs to be portrayed. And we can't just say it with our mouths, but we have to put action with it. We have to, when we see young girls wearing their natural hair out, celebrating them and letting them know that it's beautiful, and not pushing an agenda on them or a texture on them that would cause them to want to modify theirs in any way, but letting them know that the way that their hair is just as beautiful as the next. And I actually saw someone saying that not too long ago. They were like, we make this texturism, we make it become much more than what it needs to be. And we often vilify others because they don't have the quote unquote perfect hair texture that will make everybody just so much more happier. I can't get with it, y'all. I can't get with it. I'm going to tell y'all, every time y'all see me doing a wash video, a hair vlog, whatever it is, y'all are going to see this. That right there in front of you, y'all are going to see it, and y'all are going to hear me preach about it. This is beautiful. It is so beautiful. And take in the health. Look at the shrinkage. The shrinkage means health. That's what that means. It means that your hair is healthy. It's not damaged. It's not anything other than healthy. And it is a plant that, as you put nourishment inside of it, what you eat, what you drink, as you put that nourishment on the inside of it, it's going to come out on the outside. And of course, there are genetics and biology at play as far as how your hair will grow, the texture and things like that. But with anything, if you are maintaining the inside, it's going to come out beautiful on the outside. And we all have different growth cycles. We have those things that are obviously at play within our bodies. However, when we are putting in the investment, using the right products. I mentioned before, I used to be a product junkie. I went from doing all of these crazy products to just doing maybe 3 or 4. Like y'all saw a minute ago, detangling. I literally just used Cantu conditioner, water, and a wide tooth comb. Now you see me applying the deep conditioner from Shea Moisture. And then later in the video, you'll see me using one product. Well, actually 2. A leave-in conditioner, and then I'm using an oil on my hair post blowout. That's all. So if you count the Cantu, that's 1. You really don't have to count the water, but if you want to count the water, that's 2. Then the leave-in, 3. Then the oil, 4. Without the water, that's 3 products that I've used in this entire video. And yes, there's editing and things that I've done. However, I did not edit out any of the products. I have only used 3 products on my hair. And that leads me to my next conversation about the fact that there's this lie out on coarse hair that it requires 25 million products in order for you to get it to lay down and be obedient. And that's not true. Once again, I just use 3 products. That's it. Now, your hair might be different. I know we all don't have the same hair regimen and things. And hey, you use what you use. But when I tell you, if my hair is very coarse, if I'm able to get away with doing 3 products, I feel like somebody else can too. And I've heard different cosmetologists say the same. You don't have to weigh your hair down with a lot of products, especially when you're talking about blowing it out. You don't have to do it. And even if you're wearing it in its natural hair texture, you don't. The main thing that you have to keep in mind with our hair texture is moisturizing and keeping it hydrated and putting the oils on it to make sure that it keeps its strength and it keeps its shine. Because if it's dry, brittle hair will break. You have to make sure that you're putting something on it. And every 2 or 3 days, making sure that you're adding in that moisture, you're reapplying it into your hair. Because just because you do it today on Saturday does not mean it's going to carry you through into the next Saturday. You're going to have a regimen in place where you say, okay, every 2 days or every 3 days, I need to moisturize my hair. And that's kind of how I am. Sometimes, depending on the weather or the level of humidity that I've been around, I can do it every 2 or 3 days, but then sometimes I might have to do it every day or every 2 days. It just depends. But I touch my hair a lot. I investigate a lot. I inspect a lot. I look at a lot of different things with my hair to make sure that it's feeling okay. Because if it doesn't feel right, if I feel like we need to add a little something to it, we're adding something to it. I'm not going to just let it be dry and brittle, because that will break and the overall health of my hair will begin to go down. So you have to have the time and the patience. You have to have those things to really get the results that you want. When it comes to your hair, you have to know when to deep condition and add that protein and all of that. I don't deep condition all the time. I mainly deep condition when I do protective styles, before a protective style and after a protective style. And then I will also deep condition like every other month. Like when I'm wearing my natural hair out, I'll deep condition like every other month. I don't do it every wash day, but I'll do it every other month, if you get what I mean. I do it every other month. And so right now it's March, so I won't do a deep condition in April. I'll do one in May, and so on and so forth. So once you develop your rhythm, it will carry you through. And this rhythm that you see me doing is one that I developed years ago, and it's stuck with me ever since. And I can hear other people say what they do with their hair. And I often watch so many YouTube videos. You wouldn't believe how many I consume of just natural hair videos. But at the end of the day, I still know what works for my hair. And so you have to be willing to do that with your hair. You have to be willing to put in the investment in understanding it and what it needs to help it grow and be strong. Do not allow people to make you feel ashamed or embarrassed about your hair texture. I can't say enough that God gave us this hair texture. He wanted us to have it. He created it, just like he created the solar system, the trees, the things that we see, the things that we don't see. He also created this hair texture. And I don't care how many people look at it with a look of disgust or a frown, or they want you to be feeling some type of way about it. Please, if you're going to feel anyway, feel great about it. Feel joyous about it. Feel wonderful about it. Because when people see you, when other girls and women see you being confident with this hair texture, you're going to inspire them to be confident with this hair texture. I can't tell you how many people I've come into contact with who admire the fact that I am this way, and it inspires them to do it. And even if they don't have this hair texture, if they have a daughter or if they have a sister or whoever is in their life, they inspire them to do it. Because yes, there is representation for the other hair textures, and there should be. But where are the people with this one? We got to be a lot more public with it. We got to be a lot more loud with it. We have to be a lot more energetic with it. We have to let it be known that this hair texture is beautiful. And underneath all that we do with our protective styles, no matter which one you choose to do, underneath that protective style is this beautiful mane of hair right here. And we love it. We embrace it. We cherish it. We hold on to it. And we love it. So that's it, y'all. That's it. Now you'll watch me blow it out. And you'll see the beautiful way that it leaves that shrinked state to more of an elongated state. Although I will say my hair has a tendency to shrink fast. Like it will shrink fast. And that's another thing that we have to deal with coarse hair. It doesn't, we have to do a lot more to keep it straight. And at the moment, I don't know if we've really figured out the remedy for that other than a silk press. But when we do blowouts, our blowouts is always different because our hair shrinks so fast. And you'll see it. When I initially started my blowout, it was fine. But then as I got to the front of my head, it just started shrinking. But that's okay because I'm doing it in a bun tomorrow anyway. So the hair vlogs will begin again on this week. And we'll continue until I decide to do my next protective style. I'm going to try to hold out until the summer to do braids again, but who knows? However, in the meantime, enjoy. And I will talk to y'all in my next video. Remember to love your hair. Please remember to love your hair, okay? It's beautiful. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.